U.S. troops weighed ashore from a Coast Guard landing craft at Omaha Beach during the D-Day landings near Vierzon-sur-Mer, France, on June 6, 1944. Reuters. Robert F. Sargent. American assault troops of the 16th Infantry Regiment, injured while storming Omaha Beach, wait at the chalk cliffs for evacuation to a field hospital for further medical treatment, in Colleville-sur-Mer, Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. Files. Omaha Beach is secured after D-Day. Reuters. Files. Forward 1445 guns of the U.S. Navy battleship USS Nevada fire on positions ashore during the landings on Utah Beach in Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. U.S. Navy via Reuters. Canadian troops come ashore at a Juno Beach landing area at Bernier-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. Campbell. National Archives of Canada. Members of an American landing party assist troops whose landing craft was sunk by enemy fire off Omaha Beach, near Colleville-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. Weintraub. U.S. National Archives. A LCVP landing craft from the U.S. Coast Guard attack transport USS Samuel Chase approaches Omaha Beach in Colleville-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. The boat is smoking from a fire that resulted when a German machine gun bullet hit a hand grenade. U.S. Coast Guard collection. U.S. reinforcements land on Omaha Beach near Vierzon-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. CPT. Herman Wall. Crossed rifles in the sand are a comrade's tribute to this American soldier who died at the barricades. Reuters. U.S. Coast Guard. A U.S. Army medic moves along a narrow strip of Omaha Beach administering first aid to men wounded in Colleville-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. U.S. Army via Reuters. A crashed U.S. fighter plane is seen on the waterfront sometime after Canadian forces came ashore on a Juno Beach landing zone in Saint-Aubin-sur-Mer, France, June 1944. Reuters. National Archives of Canada. U.S. Army Rangers show off the ladders they used to storm the cliffs which they assaulted in support of Omaha Beach landings in Pointe du Hoc, France, June 6, 1944. U.S. Navy National Archives. Canadian soldiers study a German plan of the beach during D-Day landing operations in Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. Lieutenant Campbell. Library and Archives Canada. The Coast Guard LCIA L-85, battered by enemy fire after approaching Omaha Beach, prepares to evacuate the troops to the USS Samuel Chase. She sank shortly after this photograph was taken. The LCIA L-85 was one of 4 Coast Guard LCIs that were destroyed on D-Day. Reuters. U.S. Coast Guard. British troops disembark from the Canadian Navy infantry landing ship HMCS Prince David in Normandy, France, June 6, 1944. P. O'Donovan. J. Thorndike. Library and Archives Canada. The 2nd Battalion U.S. Army Rangers, tasked with capturing the German heavy coastal defense battery at Pointe du Hoc to the west of the landing zone of Omaha Beach, marched to their landing craft in Weymouth, England, June 5, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. Allied Forces Supreme Commander General Dwight D. Eisenhower speaks with U.S. Army paratroopers of Easy Company, 502nd Parachute Infantry Regiment Strike of the 101st Airborne Division, at Greenham Common Airfield in England, June 5, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. U.S. Army troops are seen on board a Coast Guard manned LCIA-L bound for Normandy, the night of June 5, 1944. Reuters files. Father Major Edward J. Waters, Catholic chaplain from Oswego, New York, conducts divine services on a pier for members of the 1st Assault Troops in Weymouth, England, June 6, 1944. Reuters files. Landing craft await the 2nd Battalion U.S. Army Rangers, tasked with capturing the German heavy coastal defense battery at Point du Hoc to the west of Omaha Beach, in Weymouth, England, June 5, 1944. U.S. National Archives via Reuters. A monument to a dead American soldier on the shell-blasted shore of Normandy, June 1944. Reuters. U.S. Coast Guard. The U.S. Navy minesweeper USS Tide sinks after striking a mine, while its crew are assisted by patrol torpedo boat PT-509 and minesweeper USS Pheasant in Normandy, France. June 7, 1944. U.S. Navy via Reuters. An LCM landing craft manned by the U.S. Coast Guard, evacuating U.S. casualties from the invasion beaches, brings them to a transport for treatment in Normandy, France. June 6, 1944. U.S. Coast Guard collection. U.S. National Archives. A U.S. flag lies as a marker on a destroyed bunker 2 days after the strategic site overlooking D-Day beaches was captured by U.S. Army Rangers at Point du Hoc, France, June 8, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. U.S. Army reinforcements march up a hill past a German bunker overlooking Omaha Beach near Claville-sur-Mer, France, June 18, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. A jeep of U.S. Army Combat Engineers Unit drives past the destroyed St. Malo Church, at Rear, following the D-Day landings operation in Vallognes, France. June 24, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. A Cromwell tank leads a British Army column from the 4th County of London Yeomanry, 7th Armoured Division, inland from Golden-Vers-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. National Archives of Canada. Canadian troops patrol along the destroyed Rue Saint-Pierre after German forces were dislodged from Caen, July 1944. Reuters. National Archives of Canada. German prisoners of war march along Juno Beach landing area to a ship taking them to England, after they were captured by Canadian troops at Berniers-sur-Mer, France, June 6, 1944. Reuters. Campbell. National Archives of Canada. German prisoners of war captured after the D-Day landings in Normandy are guarded by U.S. troops at a camp in Nant-les-Pins, France, August 21, 1944. Reuters. U.S. National Archives. Soldiers of Canada's 3rd Infantry Division view the damaged St. Martin-de-la-Trinité Church following the post-D-Day Operation Windsor, which dislodged German forces from Carpiquet, France. July 12, 1944. Reuters. National Archives of Canada. A French veteran of World War I greets Universal Carriers of the South Saskatchewan Regiment during the Canadian advance in Normandy. July 20, 1944. George A. Cooper, Canada Department of National Defence. Nursing Sisters of No. 10 Canadian General Hospital, RCAMC arrive in Normandy, France, July 1944. Harold G. Aikman, Canada Department of National Defence. Captain Callum Thompson, a Canadian chaplain, conducts a funeral service at the bridgehead in Normandy, France, July 16, 1944. Lieutenant Donald I. Grand Library and Archives Canada.